properly and I stopped paying attention. And I was like, wait, why wouldn't we want Borderlands 3 to happen?
I laughed at the box art where it's like, because in the last ones they always had the Psycho just blasting his brain out. So like for one he had him blasting out, and two he had.
Yeah. After 3 games, he rises again.
He's literally like the savior of the people, like the Pope. It's Pope Psycho.
Was he like that?
I
thought he was like that for a second.
It's like this.
I thought it was like Dudley Boys or John Cena.
He has the pinky and the thumb touching.
Also loyalty, respect.
What?
John Cena.
Okay.
So how was your guys' week?
It wasn't that bad.
It's apparently a really funny question to Matt over here that I'm asking how his week's gone.
It's gonna go great because we got the fade in part. Yeah. So at some point it's just gonna be like, so how's your week? Not great, but I made it through.
You hurt your back, right?
My back was in so much pain.
Yeah, that sucks. Back pain is the worst.
Yeah,
I'm getting sick.
All I can tell you is use your lockers at school, because otherwise you're gonna end up like me.
I saw Mariana's Trenton concert last week.
Really?
That was, wow. It was great. There's a lot of things I can't say. But what happened?
The 7 dirty words you can't say on television and radio. George Carlin.
Oh,
I think that's one of his stand-up things.
I don't watch comedy, so.
I mean, for me, I'm getting over a cough, so if I'm coughing during this episode, I'm sorry.
If I'm coughing, it's because Trenton got me sick. No,
if I'm coughing, it's because I'm sick, and I don't know why. Probably coworker, yeah, that's fair. Lee or Evans? Well, we work together, right? So we have the same coworkers. So
I feel like it'd be Evans.
This is not a call out.
Shout out.
It's not like anybody.
No, it's not a call out.
Call out.
We're not calling out Evans for being sick.
It's a natural human
Catch
thing.
me outside. I can take you because you're sick.
Like the one thing I hate about getting sick though is because as a diabetic, my immune system is terrible. Yeah. So it's like it's super easy for me to get sick. And once I get sick, like when I get fevers, my fevers will go up to 46, 47, like terribly hot, to the point where it's like, okay, I need a wet cloth. I have to put it over my forehead, and I have to like
a cold wet cloth.
Yeah, cold wet cloth, or I have to like take cold showers and everything.
That sounds really fun, I guess.
Happens at least like once a year.
Oh.
So I'm always like waiting for it to happen. Like I don't know. I don't think it's happening now. I think it's just a cold. So, well.
Yeah, I think that's better.
Yeah.
Shall we begin?
Probably.
Welcome to another episode of SquareTableWeekly.
Weekly.
My name is Trenton.
I'm Matt.
I'm sick. I'm Nick.
Hey, it rhymes.
Sick Nick. Yeah. I don't know why I just did that. There's no video.
He just pointed to the mic with both of his fingers.
Finger gunned the mic.
Said yeah. So let's start out with Matt. Do you want to do the table topics? What's the first table topic?
This is a good one. Classic nerd question.
Is it
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Ooh.
Oh boy. So who's gonna go first?
Who has an opinion?
Okay, I'll go first then. If you guys are hesitating, despite the new movies, definitely Star Wars.
Old canon's better.
Agreed.
So much better. Yeah, I'm Star Wars. I did Star Trek.
I grew up with Star Wars, and I missed out on Star Trek for the most part, and so I don't really get it or understand it as much as I do Star Wars, and that's why I like it more than Star Trek.
I mean, I'm definitely Star Wars.
I mean, you're wearing a Star Wars shirt right now. It's a BB-8 shirt, so.
BB-8.
BB-8.
Yeah, I'm definitely Star Wars. I like the movies of, like, the new, with Chris Pine. I like the Star Trek movies.
Oh, I'm like,
the new J.J. Abrams movies.
Yeah.
Jabrams.
I mean, you could say the new J.J. Abrams movie, and that would mean Star Wars 2.
One of them.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that also mean Jurassic Park?
Yeah, but that's not the question. The question is Star Wars or Star Trek.
I don't know. Nick, you said J.J. Abrams movie, so I'm like, okay, but like if you say the new J.J. Abrams movie, that's like, it's literally like...
The Jurassic Park wasn't part of the question.
Space Dinosaurs, the movie, coming soon.
I have played Star Trek Online. I think that's what it's called. Honestly, I really love that game.
But you like MMOs regardless.
I've played MMOs that I don't like.
Fair enough.
In fact, I don't like most MMOs.
Actually.
Most of the MMOs I've played, I've probably played 30 or 40 MMOs. I consistently only play 2 of them. Star Trek Online and Star Wars The Old Republic.
I was going to say...
This is really funny.
I was going to say DC Universe Online.
Oh, I guess I do play that a lot, too.
Yeah.
I play the Marvel Online, but they don't have one, really. Not one that you can make a custom character.
I would just say maybe you roll the Warcraft.
Let's not get into Star Wars, Marvel and DC, because that's not the question. The question is Star Wars and Star Trek.
There's probably going to be a question like that later on, though.
I've actually been considering watching, like, going and finding Star Trek and watching that. I don't know what I'd start with. Maybe the original series. Maybe Next Generation.
I couldn't give you any advice
William
because I
Shatner.
don't know them.
Yeah, William Shatner's the
series,
original.
and then
Jean-Luc Picard, which is
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart's character. That's Next Generation.
Charles Xavier.
And then they have the new one too, which I don't even know. But
Is there a new series of Star Trek?
Discovery, was it?
yeah,
But that's not new. Discovery, is it?
But it doesn't have
Either or.
Yeah,
Kirk
but
or Picard. I don't know if that's Spock either. So I don't know. I don't watch.
well, I don't
Star
think
Trek, so-
Next Generation had Spock, did it? Spock was pretty much just the original.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't watch it.
Like it was Spock and Kirk and Bones and Uhura and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I haven't really seen anything other than the movies. I want to though. I think it'd be interesting. I'm not just because I really like Star Wars. I'm not going to be like Star Trek's terrible because I don't know. I still I want to watch it. It's I do. It's not as action packed as Star Wars from what I've heard.
It's more drama.
Yeah, which I don't know how much I'd be into that, but I'm willing to give it a shot.
Yeah.
Just because I'm a 23-year-old guy. I like fight scenes.
Action is always good.
Yeah.
So.
But Star Wars, old canon,
But yeah,
books.
I haven't seen Last Jedi, so I can't comment on that. I didn't mind Force Awakens.
Did you watch Solo?
Wasn't my favorite one. No, I haven't seen Solo. It was my favorite one.
What about Rogue
but
One?
yeah,
Did you watch Rogue One?
nope. I can't sit through movies.
That's true. But you've watched
have so
you've
much
watched
trouble.
the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy.
Trilogy?
Yes, I have. I've seen the prequel trilogy.
The prequel trilogy with Monica Jar Binks.
Okay.
Is this the second time we brought up Jar Jar Binks?
I think it's the third time, actually. I don't know.
I try to erase those moments.
What was
from
the
memory.
last time? Because it was really funny. Jar Jar Binks.
It's
as
because
like,
we did the top
had some
3 that
sort
one
of
time, and
weird-
I was talking about the.
It was Jar Jar Binks as like a weird job for him or something like that. What was that one?
I don't know. I know it was brought up because for the 3 of the week, I was talking about the Star Wars books. And then
I forget what it was.
forgot.
I remember it being really funny, but I can't remember what it was. So call back to that episode.
Whichever one that was.
I don't remember which one it was.
I mean, there's only 4
This
other
is
episodes.
really progressive.
Yeah.
Progressive?
I like Star Wars. Star
What
Wars.
was the word I was looking for? This is really going well.
Yeah.
Not the word I wasn't
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Although I'm willing to give Star Trek a chance.
I was about to say I have a Star Wars tattoo, but no, not yet. Soon. That's my next tattoo.
Yeah, within 2 months.
All of us are more on the Star Wars train than we are on the Star Trek train, but
that's not necessarily because we like it better. It's just because we haven't seen Star Trek as much,
yes.
right?
And I was about to add, like, but for the most part, I think all of us can agree we're more open to seeing more of Star Trek. It's just that we really haven't had many opportunities to.
Yeah.
We didn't. It wasn't kind of a thing when we were growing up. I never had cable or satellite growing up. We pretty much had to just stick with whatever movies we owned. So, and we had the original trilogy on VHS and Phantom Menace on VHS, and I still have them there. I was sitting on that shelf or in one of those boxes.
Yeah. I still
Same
have
with my VCR because I own a VCR because I'm 80.
my VCR broke, so I can't watch my original trilogy. Because I have the special edition one that came in like the Darth Vader head. And it's like, oh,
Darth Vader head. Oh, I
well,
just have like a
sides
box
are,
set.
where Darth Vader's head on, it was gold on one side and said the 3 episodes, and then it was cool.
Yeah, I just got like a regular box with all of them in it.
Oh, nice.
One had Darth Vader, and then it was like a Yoda on the one side. And then like the actual cases, they had like one had the Stormtrooper, one had Darth Vader, and one had Emperor Palpatine. And if you turned them around, it was C-3PO. You know, had like dark side on one side, light side on the other side. That was cool.
I don't own any of the copies of VHS Star Wars.
Yeah.
I want to get it on Blu-ray once they're done Episode 9.
I actually have a few VHSs.
I have Harry Potter on VHS.
I think my personal favorite one that I own is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Yes.
I have the first and the third one. I can't find the second one
I have
on VHS.
the first one as well on VHS. It's like the green...
They're so awful. I love them.
I haven't seen those.
Oh.
We have to watch them sometime. They're so fun. They're just a good time.
Okay.
It's not like today's ridiculous movies where it's all just like action, but also dark and brooding. It's like, all just like, this is just Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We're just gonna have fun with it.
And eat pizza.
Raph has so much angst.
We should eat pizza while we watch that too.
Oh, we definitely have to.
And we're...
But we can't go with like their type of pizza because their type of pizza always is like weird combinations.
I know they like anchovy pizza. I don't know. I'm not a fan of anchovies.
I think in one of them they have like Smarties or something on one of their pizzas or something. I forget.
Ooh, no.
Aren't Smarties bad for turtles though?
They're mutant turtles, so I think it's okay.
Yeah, I think
they're also humans in costumes.
I guess.
Sorry, spoiler alert.
Well, I know for that one specifically for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies you're talking about.
In the third one, they go back to feudal Japan. Oh, it's so good.
I thought it was the second one.
No, the second one's Secret of the Ooze, where Shredder makes like his own mutants, but not Bebop and Rocksteady.
That's
one of them is actually a mutant turtle. It's a mutant snapping turtle.
Oh, weird.
And the other one is, I forget. I read the novelization of it. I read it like 6 times. I love that book so much, but I can't find the movie.
Oh, man.
I will look for it when I go to the used bookstore I go to, because I have a lot of like used like VHSs and stuff. Like, it's funny for those.
Also,
for those
I have the
costumes,
Martin Lawrence movie Black Knight.
Oh my goodness, no.
I don't know that one.
It's an interesting one. I've seen it once. I don't know why I own it.
Because you bought a VHS and it was in there? I don't know.
I have the case for it and everything. It's not like I found it in a VCR. No. I have the like sleeve.
Weird.
I'm trying to think what other movies I have. This isn't the conversation we're supposed to be having, but I'm okay with it.
Star Wars versus Star Trek, but we already voiced it.
Somehow we got to Martin Lawrence's Black Knight. He's like a guy. He's just a guy living his life, and he works at like a castle theme park, like a medieval theme park.
Oh, so it's not the Marvel Black Knight.
No. And then he falls into the theme park's moat and gets transported back to medieval times. It's insane. It's such a bizarre movie.
I definitely need to watch that.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
And he's like, I'm from... Oh, because he lives in like a neighborhood or on a street called Normandy. So he tells everybody he's from Normandy, which is also a place in France. So they're like, oh, you're from Normandy. It's just like, he's not... Okay, whatever. It's not a thinking man's movie, I'll tell you that. It's just a fun movie, but it's... Oh, man, it messes with your brain a little bit because you're just like, what's happening? I feel like this would be much more entertaining if I was, not awake completely. If I was a little bit more tired and just asleep half of it. If I was half asleep, this would be... That's what I'm trying to say. If I was half asleep, this would be more entertaining because when you're wide awake, you just realize how insane the movie is.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall we,
No. Let's keep talking about Martin Lawrence's Black Knight.
What?
They should put him in the next Star Wars movie.
But as his character from Black Knight.
Yes.
Oh, no.
He's still just as confused about how he got there.
Oh, no.
Someone make this happen. Make a short where he appears in the Star Wars universe.
We're getting off on a tangent. I mean, we're already on a tangent, but now we're on a tangent on a tangent.
Yep.
So I think we move on.
Okay, let's move on to
I think you could have tried harder to get us to move on, though, Trenton.
I probably could have. I kind of got
cool.
caught off guard when you just like, no, we're going to keep talking about this.
Okay,
I was just like,
cool.
yeah. Anyways, moving on. build a game. This time, which part are we on now?
We're on mechanics, but let's just talk about one this time, and as opposed to going super in depth and
So, my
running over time by too much.
We're going to talk about a mechanic that is important to our said game we've
Maybe
been building.
not necessary, but
Important.
encouraged at least. Well, important. I feel like
I'd say
implies that it's not core mechanics.
It's not like
necessarily. It could be if you wanted it to, but it's not necessarily a core mechanic.
Yeah.
I feel like I said in like 12 words what Trenton basically said in one, but I just wanted to make sure
people understand.
I was talking.
You want to make sure you were talking. That makes more sense for people to understand.
Because I don't think people are dumb. I just enjoy talking.
So who wants to go first?
I can.
Go for it.
So the mechanic I'm going to be talking about is crafting, because I love crafting in games.
Quick recap of what your game is. It's this fantasy game.
Pirate, RPG, fantasy, dwarves, orcs, elves, humans, all on ships, attacking each other, raiding places.
Laura Bailey.
Laura Bailey voices a character.
Yeah, that's all I can remember.
So does Matt Mercer, and Sam Riegel is the villain.
Nice.
Because I just...
Sam Riegel's
it's going to be such an interesting villain. Because I basically here's what the villain is, but I haven't written a whole script for this game because that would take a long time.
So you're going to talk about...
But I think Sam Riegel could give really good character
Input.
You know what I'm trying to say. I feel like it starts with a C, but maybe not. Really good characterization. That's what I'm trying to think of. He could have really good characterization with this villain. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about this week. What we're talking about this week is mechanics, and I'm talking about crafting because it's in all my favorite games. So with the whole thing is you're crafting stuff because... Okay, how do I start this? Okay, so in the game there's obviously a loot-based system. This is going to be heavily inspired by Dragon Age Inquisition because, again, that's my favorite game of all time, and screw you if you think otherwise.
I mean, it did win.
So,
That's
specifically, if you think Matt's favorite game is not Dragon Age Inquisition, you are wrong, and that's why he's saying screw you.
That's why.
It's not because if you think a game...
You can think other games are better. People have their own opinions, but my favorite game is Dragon Age Inquisition. And
okay.
Anyways.
So, crafting. So, it's a lot... you can find anything you need in the game. All different armors, all different clothes, all different weapons, all different accessories, whatever it is. You can find that. But if you choose to put the time in to gather the resources and to craft the items, you can get higher stats from them. It encourages you to craft, but is not necessary. And maybe there will be different options for crafting, such as, you can find a bunch of stuff looting the world, and there's a chance you'll get any item, but you could also just get what you need to craft the item and make it yourself, and that way you're guaranteed to get that item rather than just hoping for it.
So, quick question. When it comes to gathering resources, are there different rarity of resources?
Yes,
so
because I think that's important. Because if you craft with lower rarity resources, you won't get as good of stats if you craft with higher. And you can craft the same item with different levels of the resources. So, the resources are, metal, maybe bone would be an interesting one to have. So, you know, I don't know what a low resource bone would be. A low rarity resource. A low rarity bone would be. But, a high rarity might be, dragon bone.
Okay.
As opposed to bear bone or something like
Fish
that.
bones. Because it's a pirate game, right?
That's true. So, sea dragon bones versus fish bones. I don't know what a sea dragon is called. A hydra? No, that's wrong. I was just thinking with water, but hydra are just multiple head. A basilisk. No, not a basilisk. Either way. But that's, so, different rarities. So, metal, bone, cloth, maybe, leather, stuff like that.
Every time you talk about your game, I think of Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. I don't know why.
But on steroids.
And also, you don't have to be Link.
Yeah.
But you can make Link if you choose to be an elf with blonde hair.
Nice. I'm down.
There's two different factions of elves. There's elves and Christmas elves. Santa's elves and fantasy elves.
Yes.
There's actually a third faction, which is Snap, Crackle, Pop, the Rice Krispies elves.
Those are...
Are they elves? I would call them elves.
I...
There's some sort of fae.
What?
F-A-E. Fae.
Fae creature.
Oh.
Fairies are... What?
I think they're more so...
I guess it depends on... You would think they're fairies. Here's a question. Do fairies have wings?
No. Not all of them.
Not all of them, okay.
Come on, I've read a lot of fantasy.
This is who I am. I'm a tangent man. Imagine.
I'm a cosine man.
Okay, I have another question for your crafting.
Okay.
Is magic involved in the crafting?
Like enchantment type things, or
either enchantment or maybe like...
I think that's a way to do it. Is weapons and armor you can enchant. It's a little bit like Skyrim in that regard, where like you can get like a fire enchantment, and with weapons it'll cause fire damage, and with armor it'll give you resistance to fire, and that sort of thing, and stuff like that, and other various elements, and also there's like a speed, very much like Skyrim, Elder Scrolls enchantment, where depending on what you put it on, it changes slightly, and some enchantments can't go on some things. Like the speed enchantments in, like, you're this much better at blocking, that can't go on your sword. Because why would it?
Meant more for your
But maybe
shield.
there would be an enchantment that's like, it helps you block, and you can put it on your sword, so your sword kind of automatically helps, like, positions itself in the best way for you to then move your arm and deflect.
Dragon Ball Super's Ultra Instinct, basically.
So, like, if you, like, super enchant your weapon and get, like, all... And there would be a limit on enchantments, but it would be a relatively high limit.
Okay.
On various things. So, like, your sword, maybe there's... Maybe, like, a higher rarity sword could have, like, 10 enchantment slots. Maybe that's a lot, but...
That does sound a lot.
Maybe not 10, maybe, like, 5 or 7 or something like that. But, like, there's a lot of enchantment slots, so you can be like, this does fire damage and electricity damage... And there would be some play, like, fire damage and water damage you couldn't put on the same weapon, I would say. Electric damage, if you enchanted it with electricity, it would be a better fit with a water damage weapon as well than a fire damage. With fire damage and electric damage, it just does both. But with water and electric damage, it doesn't combine them, but it makes the electric damage one stronger.
It amplifies it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Science.
I like this. I like this a lot. Nick, do you want me to go next, or do you want to go next?
You can go
so,
next.
I never said I was done.
So for my game, just a quick recap. Mine.
What?
Are you laughing at
I
something?
said I never said I was done.
Oh,
But I am done.
yeah,
Unless you have more questions, but you clearly moved on, so let's go to you.
I don't know. I thought I was gonna take it and move on.
I'm not a fan of being smooth. Let's make this as jagged as possible. Anyway,
We are doing that right now.
Continue,
Anyways,
Trenton.
my game was basically alternate history / alternate universe steampunk with the aesthetics of World War I and II. So part of my game and one of the mechanics would be it would be some survival aspects to it as part of the universe or the world the game exists on. There's like toxic gases that you cannot breathe without like gas masks. So it would be about keeping track of filters, other things like keeping your weaponry up to snuff. Some of that would be fixing or like there's like pneumatic weaponry, so that would be like
because it's steampunk, right?
yes, so
there's
steampunk and pneumatics and stuff, as well as a few weapons that would be based off of like a gunpowder type propellant. So like those would be really, really rare. So all of that would be part of keeping track on. Some of the missions would be like longer, or some of the missions would happen right after the previous one. So you'd have to deal with however you ended there.
So is it survival or is it resource management? A little bit of both.
Like think light
Resource management for survival.
Think very, very light survival. So I'm not. The game's not going to make you eat every so often or sleep, but like.
Do you have to keep track of your drinking?
You have to keep track of like the filters on your mask.
So kind of like Metro.
Yes,
But it's not like here's food, make sure you eat it.
No,
otherwise you'll die.
There's not that.
Okay.
Like, and like the weaponry, like...
Would there be an option to like increase the survival difficulty so that you would have to eat and drink?
Yeah, I would totally consider doing that. That would make it, like, if people wanted that more, I would definitely consider doing that. Mm-hmm. I think initially for, like, in the base sort of difficulty or default choosing.
So would the survivability difficulty be in relation to the game's difficulty, or could you have like two different difficulty
It would definitely be
sliders?
separate to like difficulty, so you could do like a normal difficulty.
So like you could be really easy, so that and then survival as hard as possible, so that you're mostly focused on survival. But then there's also
I definitely
enemies that aren't a challenge, but just to give you a little bit of.
So that would be sort of what I'd do, and then like the mechanics with the guns is sometimes you wouldn't have, a normal, like between. Like I said just earlier, some missions would end and then the next one picks up right afterwards. So you'd start that mission with whatever you ended with.
Oh.
And then as that mission goes on, maybe you might have to do like repairs.
A single toothpick.
There would be maybe a slight resource gathering for like repairing and adjusting weaponry, pneumatics as well. Obviously, with the survival meter, you could probably add either within that survival meter to increase that, and that would be more of a part you need to focus on if that's higher. But yeah, it's not super crazy. It's not like if you don't pay attention to everything, you're gonna die instantaneously. But you can make it more so like that if you want to. Anyways,
okay.
If you have any questions about,
no, I kind of just asked my questions while you were talking.
Yeah. When will this game be available for pre-order?
Are you saying you haven't pre-ordered yet?
Just because I'll pre-order a game a year's in advance.
A year's in advance.
I'm talking about Star Wars Fallen.
Fallen Order.
Fallen Order.
Fallen Jedi. Fallen Order.
That one. I pre-ordered
Is
that.
that still happening?
Yeah.
It should still be being shown at the E3s. English.
You want to take that sentence again from the top?
It will still be shown
one more time
at this coming up E3.
I hope so.
Well, they said that last year, so I'm holding their promise to it.
What about Star Trek Fallen Federation?
Doesn't exist.
That we know of.
Anyways.
Okay.
Nick, what's yours?
All right, so my mechanic.
What's your game?
Okay, so my game
Little
is that
creatures fighting. It's a Pokemon style mechanic in the middle of this RTS RPG.
Oh my gosh, just throw in every single genre.
I'm just saying, you love Pokemon.
Anyways.
I do. No,
And they're all like off-brand Pokemons.
So my game is the
Like
RTS RPG.
It's literally
smash
just Squirtle with a different name. Sturtle.
Okay, calm down, please.
Nope.
All right.
Let Nick talk.
I need to make this episode as long as possible because I don't know if we'll get to an hour, so I'm distracting you.
Oh, trust me, once I start talking about this, it will definitely make it.
Well, then why aren't you talking about it?
Because you keep talking about knockoff Pokemon called Sturtle.
He's a fire type.
He's our mascot now.
Oh.
Yes, you're gonna make a mascot now. It's Turtle.
I'm 100% gonna make a mascot now. Sturtle. He's a fire type turtle.
Okay,
Torkoal. Anyways, so my
Don't you jump on this. This is my thing.
this is our thing.
So my game is the real-time strategy role-playing game mashup in space, high fantasy, with way too many customization options. So basically the mechanic I'm talking about is resource gathering, which is...
Go for it. Keep going.
You guys are just like laughing and I don't know what's happening.
Okay, for those who are listening, when Nick mentioned his customization, Matt rolled his eyes at me, and it was hard for us not to burst out laughing.
Because I'm not like actually like bothered by it.
He's not bothered by it. He's
just
making a big deal out of it for no reason that he could do it.
And we were trying not to distract Nick, but then Nick was like, "No, I want to be distracted."
I'm very easily distracted.
Anyway,
So I'm sorry.
It
will happen again.
Probably.
What is the mechanic you want to talk about?
So the mechanic I want to talk about is resource gathering, which is very important in real-time strategy games. So, as most people know, like in
Murder.
that's important in all games. So,
No, not all games.
Sackboy. will murder everyone.
No. I don't murder anyone in any of the Portal games.
Yeah.
It's because everyone's already dead.
So you're saying everyone's dead, so you don't have to murder them, so it's not an important part of this game.
Okay, murder was an important part to the lore. That sounds really bad.
It's not important to most games.
Gladys is trying to murder you.
How many, like, what's that game? The Last Witness? Or The Witness? The Witness. It's just a puzzle game. There's no murder.
Yeah, I can
Murder is
I can
important.
agree with that.
Murder is not important to every game. Therefore, you are wrong. You are expelled from the podcast. Please leave.
Okay.
Anyways,
I'm not leaving.
We're gonna we're gonna move on from this tangent.
Why
and
must you turn this office into a den of lies?
Okay, calm down, both of you. What is the resource part of
I'd
the
like to
game
apologize for the Simpsons reference I just made.
Okay.
Yep. So, as most people know, for a lot of real-time strategy games, resource gathering is important to build troops, what are they called? Buildings, and even like upgrading your troops. And like that's something that is going to be focused on. So like, yes, you're going to be collecting like the minerals, the gas, and maybe a few others depending on what faction you're with. But like in large scale, because you're going to different planets.
For instance, the barbarians fart in jars and call it collecting gas.
Oh my goodness, why?
I'm debating this now. In my head.
No, don't do this. This is just Matt being silly. Oh my goodness.
So, as I said before, you go to different planets to either conquer or just colonialize or just build a base of operations. So, because you're doing that, you're going to kind of have like one area that's more of like a storage area where like your base of operations on a certain planet. Mm-hmm. So, you can collect resources from all the other planets that you've previously visited if you've put down stuff to gather.
Resource hubs. Resource gathering points.
Yes, all that. And then you can send them off to your main area.
Storehouses. That's the word
on
I was looking for.
Your main base of operations. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of resource gathering. Now, if we go down, a lot of like I said before, a lot of the resources is for like building troops and building buildings.
The RTS.
The
part
RTS
of the game.
part of it. Now the thing is like, because you have your own central like base of operations, you can actually take a carrier with resources to a planet that you're about to go and conquer or colonialize. So you have a kind of a head start on building everything. So you don't have to be like, okay, I just have to build the main command center and then build everything out from that. You can literally go in and like place down your buildings already built and be like, okay, so now I'm ready to just start building troops and I've only been here for 2 seconds. So it adds in different elements of like, okay, do I want to make this easier for me or do I want to make this harder? But on top of that, because there's resources on other planets and you're not collectively there, you can still have your troops on those planets, but you still have to kind of defend in the long run. So like you can have like auto defend and stuff like that. So it brings in a lot of different aspects to a more real world situation for real time strategy. So it's like, okay, let's just say there's this planet. We'll call this planet A. And that's the base of operations. And I've already conquered planets B, C, and D, and now I'm going to go to E. So let's just say that there's pirates about to go attack B, and you're at E, trying to take over that. So like you'll get like notifications and be like, okay, I have to go and either have E go to auto gather, auto battle, and then go to that back to planet B, and then kind of just fix up all the trouble that's happened there.
Okay. So I have a question. Could you, if I was playing this game and I started out or started getting into a position where I was comfortable with the amount of resources I was getting and I was getting extra, is there like a trading system or like a trading like
yeah
to help?
There is a trading system. So like again, that also depends on what faction you're part of. So like, let's just say you're part of the pirates and like you're gathering resources. For pirates, like they won't need, like their units and their buildings aren't as high cost, so you'll have a little more resources. But because they're pirates, they're also going to be selling stuff on the black market, so you'll be making more money.
So is there different? There's different ways to trade.
There's different ways to trade.
Can you trade between factions?
In certain situations, like
if you're allied with somebody?
Yeah, because like I said,
throughout the game, you can kind of choose whether to ally or not with factions, right?
And that's more based on the RPG aspect.
Yeah.
So like, okay, well,
so
we'll
then if in the RPG aspect you ally with another faction, no matter who it is, then in the RTS you can trade with them.
Yeah, and then going a little bit more into
but then the
allying,
the
you can
pirates also have access to like
a black market.
I'm assuming the pirates are harder to ally with and harder to get allies as the pirates. So that's why they have this other option for trade.
I mean, everyone has the option for the black market. It's just the pirates are going to have the best opportunity there, and same with like mercenaries. Whereas if you're like with the military, like the Imperial Army, you're not really going to get much. They're going to cheap you out, basically. So it's like, okay, let's just say I have
worse deals and also worse product.
Yeah, so like, let's just say I have 100 of this product and I want to sell. And so I'm the army. Maybe I'll get 100 coin back. Whereas if I'm a pirate, maybe they'll give me like 600. Depending. Well, that I haven't put in the whole money system yet. But like, depending on where you, like who you are and who you trade with, like everything's different. And that makes the game different for everybody.
Okay.
So,
if two people were sitting beside each other, both playing this game separately, and they made the exact same choices, would they have the same experience? Or would there be, like, small differences?
There'll be small differences because...
Like, is there, like, randomly generated encounters and whatnot?
Yes. So, like, that was another thing I was going to get into. So, like, when going back to, like,
the same thing, but I just thought it was...
It's on the same. But, like, going back to the whole, like, sending resources to, like, different planets and stuff, those can be attacked by pirates. And that's more
not
so
guaranteed every time.
Yeah. That's more so, like, the random encounter fact. So, it's like, okay, I'm going to send this one to this planet. Oh, there's pirates now. So
how much do I want to spend on guards protecting this?
Yeah, you can
or
spend
other units.
Guards,
do I want to send my own units? Do I want to hire mercenaries?
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Stuff like that. So
will the mercenaries betray me?
And that is an option too.
And will my units
mutiny?
Yeah.
That
my mind was defect, but what's the one where it doesn't? Desert.
There we go.
And those are all
possibilities
that I'm not going to answer at this point.
And are my units actually an enemy unit in disguise? There's a lot of interesting things you can throw in this.
Am I just the bad guy right now?
Am I playing this game right now? Is this a dream? Am I awake?
Anyway.
Or are we Dancer?
No, I'm Prancer. Trenton's Blitzen.
What?
I'm Vixen.
I'm Rudolph. Anyways, so that's basically where my whole RTS side of the resource gathering and upgrading and building goes in. Like, there's a few things I still have to work out with it in my head, but
so that's fine. I would like how
we've
sounds.
Been working on these for a month, and if they're fully fleshed out already, that'd be impressive.
Yeah.
But I still like the sounds of it.
I'm loving all these games. I pay at least $1 for every game.
At least $1. Okay.
I would pre-order the Legendary Edition of my game, which gives you.
Well, that's good because it's your dream game.
Secret faction. No, I don't know.
Secret faction, the Illuminati, the reptiles who rule Earth.
Well, that was build a game. Shall we move on to news? To news. This week was a little light on news. There's some bigger moments. Mainly, the first thing I want to talk about.
Continue.
We will not describe what visions we saw this day, but it definitely caught Nick off guard.
I don't know why he works with me.
He still does. Anyways, so the first thing about news is that Kotaku released a article on Anthem about how crazy the development of Anthem went. Things like the actual game that shipped was built in the last 18 months. Despite having 6 years to build all this, and it was apparently it was filled with indecision from all the the people at the top of Bioware. So they're very unorganized and caused a lot of problems just because of indecision and lack of vision is what most people have said when from this argument or from this article. Pardon. So what do you guys think of that? Knowing that you guys both are, or at least I think we're all pretty big fans of BioWare and a lot of their games.
I mean, I think I read that article. It didn't seem like it was necessarily indecision at the top of BioWare.
Oh, it was a bit. I mean, it was a bit
not,
of
not like that wasn't the main thing, but that was definitely a part of it. It felt like it was decisions by EA that limited what they could do.
That was another thing I've heard.
Because because EA was just like, everybody has to be on the Frostbite engine, and they're just like, well, we can't do any of what we want to do on this. And it was the same thing with Inquisition.
Yeah,
it's like we can't. It doesn't have the possibility of a third-person camera. We had to build that from the ground up.
Yes, that was one of the
there
things.
There was a few different things that they just had to build straight from the ground up. With
one of the things.
I'm not saying that's the only thing as well.
About Frostbite, the Frostbite engine is. They did not have access to people who really know the engine well. Those people were mainly focused on
they were
EA's,
on Anthem, but then they got moved into...
Well, they were mainly focused on EA's sports side of things because those are far more lucrative.
Yeah.
Like the Maddens and stuff like that. They're focused there. And so they just didn't have much documented knowledge on this thing. So building things from scratch,
they had a few people who were on Anthem who knew the Frostbite engine, but then a couple months into development they were just like, well, we're making, it was like Battlefront 2 or something like that, and so they moved all the people that knew the Frostbite engine that were on Anthem onto that, and so suddenly they were left they were up a creek without a paddle completely.
Basically.
Maybe I read that wrong though. Maybe they just didn't have anyone to begin with.
So it sounds like there was many problems that just screwed them over. That wasn't a good thing. So, you guys have any thoughts on this? Hopes?
I do have thoughts on this.
Going back to the whole where they did most of the production in the last 18 months. After playing the game,
for what it is, it's pretty good for 18
months.
It
is, but at the same time, you can also notice it.
Though.
You can notice the 18 months where it's there are definitely parts of it missing.
It feels like if AAA game, AAA companies were participating in a game jam. But they were given a year and a half rather than the usual, month?
Yeah.
That's kind of what it feels like. My thought is BioWare needs to not be with EA anymore. And I don't know how that could happen, because I'm pretty sure EA's we're not letting go of them. But I want them to. Because
EA's going to drive them into the ground.
I am a huge fan of BioWare. I have been since KOTOR, really. I don't know if I'll ever pre-order another BioWare game until they're apart from EA, if they ever are.
Yeah, for me, I haven't been as big a fan of BioWare as let's say Matt here, Matt, because I just haven't played as many of their games. I did play
Mass Effect.
Mass Effect, there we go. Mass Effect, I played those games, and I really enjoyed them. I really liked, their focus on story and choices within the storyline to be able to change outcomes pretty drastically. So stuff like that was something I really appreciated, and I always saw that they had lots of talent behind what they did. They weren't only good at the story thing. They were good at the story thing and big mechanics and fun gameplay. So it's really sad seeing how hard it was, how much of a struggle it was for them to just even finish this new IP, starting basically what feels like from scratch, with some of the engine mechanics and programming they had to do. For me, it would be really nice if they could pull a Bungie and just buy their way out with their properties intact. Because then I think if they could do that and be an independent company, I think that could change a lot. They could hopefully get a lot more of their magic back underneath themselves and actually start using that to make games again. But who knows if that will actually happen.
And if that's not necessarily a possibility, even another company coming and buying BioWare from EA would be
another thing that would be
not a bad option.
But at the same time,
I don't know what company would be able to do that.
Oh, there's a few that would
I know could afford it, but would be a good move and not just a lateral move into another company.
True.
Yeah.
Because I like Ubisoft, but at the same time, I don't know if they're the best option to take control of, Dragon Age and Mass Effect. I don't know if Mass Effect's even still going to be a thing after Andromeda. I enjoyed it, but I do realize a lot of people didn't.
Yeah.
In Inquisition, apparently a lot of people didn't enjoy that,
which is weird.
But I kind of get that, because having played through it a bunch of times, your choices, they matter, but they don't necessarily change the outcome as much as you want them to, as much as they did in, Dragon Age Origins, or...
Yeah.
Even Mass Effect didn't super do that.
Well, the last 3. One was...
How do you feel about your different colored filters over the end of Mass Effect 3?
That was definitely a disappointment when one of the main developers said this won't be a 3-ending game, and they actually said it won't be that, and then it became that. That was it. That was one of the peak disappointments in a lot of gaming. Anyways, we haven't gotten to Nick's thoughts on this.
Yeah, I'm very opinionated about BioWare, so I'm sorry about that.
No,
please continue, Nick.
For me, it's a little bit harder to talk on because literally the only thing I've played from BioWare is SWTOR and the multiplayer for Mass Effect 3.
And Dragon Age Inquisition.
And Dragon Age Inquisition and Andromeda.
But the multiplayer, which isn't indicative of any of the rest of the game, really.
Yeah. But going back, if they were able to become their own company again,
that's the ideal.
It's going to take a long time for them to get the respect back.
From gamers.
From gamers. It'll probably take, I'm going to say...
I don't know if it would take as long as you think, just because then they're apart from EA. It would still take a while. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they'd leave and be perfect. No.
Yeah, no.
I do love BioWare. They're not perfect. I will say that.
I say if they do get the opportunity to leave and do take it, that will definitely, to the majority of the community, I think will be okay, I may not go pre-order the first game they make, but I will have much more faith in them, and
I'll be much more likely to at least buy it
or always follow it, because I think a lot of people now are very much shut down from the idea of
BioWare,
following
backed
BioWare,
by EA.
by EA. So,
because I definitely pre-ordered Andromeda, and after all the backlash, I was okay. To me, it wasn't that bad, right? I watched gameplay, and I was okay. There's a few bugs. They fixed some of them. I was okay, I'll give them a second chance with Anthem, because Anthem was super hyped. And a huge letdown once it came out. Even playing the alpha and the beta.
Have you ever played Game Dev Simulator? What's it called? Game Dev Tycoon.
Yeah.
You ever get your hype super up, and then you release a terrible game? That's basically what they did with Anthem.
Yeah.
Super deep cut from an indie game.
Yeah,
Have you ever played Game Dev Tycoon? You people who played Game Dev Tycoon, you're going to love that one. Everyone else, what?
Go play Dev.
Game Dev Tycoon, please. It's so good.
But yeah. Honestly, I would like them to become their own property, or to be bought by someone else. But going back to what you said, Matt, if they were bought by someone else, it's
who would be the good
best?
Choice?
Because I would say Activision, but again, it's Activision. It's hey, you want to pay $60 for a season's pass?
I don't know if Activision would be a good
I wouldn't
option.
Trust Activision.
Yeah.
I think Ubisoft could definitely.
When I think Activision, I pretty much only think of Call of Duty.
Yeah.
I don't think of huge story-driven RPGs.
Sekiro. Shadows Die Twice.
They published it.
They published it. They didn't develop it.
But I guess that would be the same thing if they
because
Bioware, because they wouldn't be the wouldn't be the developers. Bioware would be the developers.
I think Ubisoft could totally buy them out, because I think when it comes to Ubisoft, one of the things that they're really good at is they have many companies across the world that are all well organized together.
It's like 12 or 13 of them.
Yeah, so and they're relatively well known for at least being somewhat more organized.
Yeah.
So they could do that and maybe improve some things on that front. They also follow up on many of their games despite initial releases being poor.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Unity. That was terrible. And then they're like, okay, we're sorry for this game. So anybody who bought the Season's Pass,
honestly,
we refunded it. We're giving you all the DLC for free. And you get a free game from us. It's like, what?
Unity is the only Assassin's game I consistently play.
It's still good. Like it wasn't so much the game, it's like the multiplayer, which I see that with a lot of Ubisoft games, like the older ones, like the multiplayer wasn't the best, mostly for like servers and stuff. So I don't know if that would be good for BioWare.
Another company that I would say could do it, and it would probably be pretty interesting, would be like 2K.
Yeah.
2K is
that way all my favorite games could be under 2K. The WWE games, Borderlands, and all the Bioware games.
They could do that, and I could see that happening. Another one,
but go back to 2K releasing Evolve.
Yeah, but
bombs.
EA has a lot more bombs than
I guess
most other.
Yeah.
Every
they don't
publisher's
follow
gonna
up.
Every publisher's gonna have a bomb, at least.
Oh yeah.
Another one. This might be more crazy than the others.
Who did like the ET games from the 80s? Because we should get them.
But another one I was thinking of right off the bat was
the ones that are buried in the desert.
They've actually been buying some smaller companies more recently.
Don't they own Deep Silver or something?
I don't know for sure. So I'm not gonna.
Yeah. Because I know.
And then the last one I was thinking of. This one might surprise you guys, but this would actually make sense. But Microsoft might buy would be another one that could buy them, because they've been buying some big companies more in the last couple of years, and I think at the very least
that could be a good one.
Well, didn't Microsoft weren't they originally the publishers for the first Mass Effect? Wasn't that how it went?
I think they had some exclusive with Mass Effect 1 and 2, because I don't think those came to PS4 until like later on, when there was like a full 3-game bundle for both consoles.
So it would be
if
a good
I remember
idea.
correctly. I might not remember that correctly. Just calm down if I'm wrong. It's okay if I'm wrong.
I think if anybody does get BioWare, I think whoever does it,
if
I don't know, I think I want to say just kind of leave them to their own devices, but I don't think that's necessarily the best way of doing it, actually.
See, the thing is, with Microsoft, they're really, really trying to, at least what I've heard, is really trying to make actual games that they can be like more than just like the Forza, Halo, and Gears. They're trying to have more first-party titles than just those three things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they're, at least in this stage, they're really just like handing out lots of money and saying make stuff. So I think initially, if this was this hypothetical scenario of BioWare being bought by Microsoft, yeah, they would be more exclusive to Microsoft, but they'd probably still release on both PC and Xbox.
Yeah.
For that matter, as we can see that Microsoft still is embracing the PC more than ever.
Oh yeah.
And they would get a chance to make something
not necessarily
with a bigger.
A bad thing, though.
That's not a bad thing at all. And they would get a chance to make something with maybe less limiting factors from said Microsoft, because they're more so encouraging their developers, at least in this stage, to make something just really awesome.
Yeah.
Go for it. Here's a lot of money.
What would you think about Nintendo buying BioWare?
No.
Would that be a good idea?
No.
I don't.
No.
I see the thing with Nintendo.
I'm gonna play Dragon Age on my Xbox.
See with the Nintendo, only recently have they given out the Zelda IP to a indie company. In one of their last directs, there's a Zelda game that is being made by an indie company. that has some music, I think music additions to it in the gameplay. I don't really know how the game works. I've only seen this like once, but I don't see them buying a North American company.
Right.
And so that would be, like, if they did that, that would be, like, super crazy and super interesting to see how that works.
Dragon Age, but you play as your own Mario Sona.
Something like that. It's just, it throws me through a loop.
Create a plumber.
Create a plumber. That'd be crazy.
I like Nintendo. I'm not saying Nintendo's bad. I'm just saying I don't think they'd be the right fit for BioWare.
Like, the only reason I was saying that is because, like, it seems like with the games that they publish or even, like, develop, it's like they're really well done.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Nintendo does do quality well,
and they do follow up
really
as well.
good.
Like Ubisoft, they will follow up on them.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
so yeah.
what was it? I think it was.
I think they're the right fit for BioWare.
Yeah, I don't know, because I think it was like Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I think there was like a bug, and literally like 2 days after the bug was found.
Pokemon.
What?
There's lots of bug Pokemon.
No, like a coding bug or whatever.
Weedle.
I think like after like it was like 2 or 3 days after they discovered, like, okay, here's a patch to fix it, and like I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the main news I was covering for today, because I thought that was one of the biggest things, and since we're pretty big fans of BioWare, I feel like that would be something that we'd like to talk about. So
Yeah.
I'm surprised Matt doesn't have a BioWare tattoo yet.
I have 2 BioWare tattoos.
No, like one that just says BioWare.
Why would I do that?
Because you love BioWare so much. Just be
Like,
like,
I love BioWare, but I don't know.
I think the symbols are better.
I don't know if I'd ever get words tattooed on me.
What about N7? Would you ever get that tattooed on you?
No.
Actually.
He's not much of a Mass Effect
It's
fan
too much of a... See, this is going to sound probably kind of hipsterish. A lot of people get N7 tattoos.
I guess, yeah.
I've seen... I mean, I did go on Instagram and specifically look up Dragon Age tattoo, and a decent number of people had this one.
Yeah.
But, you know, I wasn't super into... I did like the Mass Effect. I played through the original, the Mass Effect trilogy, and I'm currently working through Andromeda. But there's just so many games I have now that I'm always playing, so I don't necessarily always go to Andromeda. So that's actually kind of telling as well, because with the original Mass Effect trilogy, I basically played those through. Like, I didn't really stop and go to another game.
Yeah.
I just kind of was like,
you sit down
right
and you
through.
play through it all, yeah.
So Mass Effect Andromeda, the fact that I haven't just sat through and played it is a little telling about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know if I'd ever get an N7 tattoo.
Okay.
I don't think I would, just because I kind of have this tattoo planned out, this whole sleeve.
Right. His left arm, for those of you who can't see, which is everyone, except for me and Trenton.
Maybe at this point, no, but maybe eventually.
Okay. Fair enough.
Mass Effect didn't have the same impact on me as Dragon Age did.
Right.
So.
So our next section, I believe, is Fave of. So favorite of.
Oh, yeah.
We decided to do the favorite game coming out, or at least announced to come out this year.
Yeah. Because it's first quarter just finished not too long ago.
Pretty much.
So why not?
Yeah, first quarter would have finished March
31st, yeah.
Yeah,
so.
no, not every game that's coming out this year has been announced, because we don't know them if they haven't been announced yet.
E3 is definitely going to do a lot
to hopefully change our minds, but I think we can come up with at least one game per person, if not more than one if you want to.
Yeah.
Who would like to start this one?
I guess I could start.
Go for it.
Okay, so for me, it's actually 2 games.
No.
Well, technically it's...
It doesn't work.
That's fine.
I mean, technically it's 3.
Fave of, not 2 fave of.
Yeah.
Okay, but... Okay.
Did you say technically it's 3?
No. I said technically it's 2.
Okay.
I know exactly what he's talking about, so...
Yes, I think I know what you're talking about,
You
too.
don't.
So the game...
That's not what you expect.
My most anticipated game...
NBA 2K20.
Ew. No.
And 2K20 Special Edition.
No.
21.
I'm actually looking forward to Pokemon Sword and Shield a lot. Mostly because it is the first Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch. Well, okay, with the exclusion of Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. It's the first new generation on the Switch, which honestly excites me a lot. But also, yeah, it's just everything's new in it, and it'll give me an opportunity to take my Switch out of the house, which I don't know if that's a good idea, but
It's not.
I don't know. I just want to see. I want to see it run better than like what it did on the 3DS. Like I know they tried to introduce the whole, like it. I don't know. It has the RPG element, but like in the older ones, it's like okay, you can only move 4 directions, and then once they released it on the 3DS, they're like, hey, you now have a D-pad and stuff. But it's like
How many directions could you move in?
you can move a lot. But like for this one, I don't know. I'm just really excited.
This one now you can move up and down as well.
Maybe. And now that
It's a
the world,
D-pad,
yeah.
but also like a 3D.
D-pad.
And it's gonna be great because like I can play Pokemon on my TV basically, so it's gonna be super cool.
Can't you now technically? Can't
Well,
you
And
get
the
like
graphics
a
look really nice.
adapter for your DS?
I think the graphics look really nice as well.
But yeah.
for a Pokemon game.
Oh yeah.
So that's gonna be another benefit to it.
I'm just
because,
hoping
because Pokemon has always been like a portable thing, they're actually releasing it so you can't play it unless you take your Switch out of the dock.
No, because
You're
then-
not allowed to play it on your TV.
if that was the case, then they would have done that for Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu.
They did. People just modded it.
No.
No, you could play it on the TV because
Matt, you're just being silly again.
Did you believe me?
No, I
did.
didn't.
No, did you think I was serious? That I actually believed that?
maybe.
Because the way you started, you're just like, no, let me explain. And I'm just
Come on,
like,
I do
grinning.
way too much research into Pokemon for any.
Yeah,
like,
why would they limit your playing like that? That makes no sense.
It doesn't. So, but what I'm really hoping for is them to bring Pokemon Bank to the Switch. So for those of you who don't know, it's an online deposit system. So any Pokemon you catch,
But for Pokemon and not money.
yeah. So you deposit your Pokemon into it, and you can access it throughout any of your devices that's linked to your Pokemon Bank.
Okay.
Because
Which in Nick's case is all of them.
I feel like
including
I feel
his
like
Game
they'll
Boy
do
Advance
that.
somehow.
I feel like they'll do that mainly because they've done
If they don't do that, that'd be weird.
they've done something. Well, you can trade up.
Also,
games,
Nick recently
right?
learned that he's missing a third Pokemon.
no, I caught it.
Oh, did you? Okay,
Yeah, I
good.
caught it last night, 2 nights ago. But
He was very
like,
disappointed.
yeah, you could trade up the games, but like this is what they introduced with the 3DS. They're like, okay, so instead of having to like trade all the time, because like there's so many Pokemon. I think right now it's 807. Yeah, 800 and so Pokemon, right? So it's like trying to catch every single one of them again in each game is going to be too much, which is why they introduced Pokemon Bank. So it's like, okay, we just have your regional Pokedex, just fill that up. If you want your other Pokemon, you can bring them in.
Nice.
So, I don't know. They didn't really, because I see what you wrote.
I'm not supposed to mention it.
Willy Bam Bam.
They're the
Okay.
worst.
But like, ow. They didn't introduce Pokemon Bank with Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu coming out, so I don't know how that's gonna work. So, but
Who knows? I think
Yeah.
I think that would be a smart idea for
Yeah.
them to introduce it into the mainline series. Continue keeping it in the mainline
yeah,
series.
I mean, Nintendo did say that they're gonna talk more about Pokemon in April because they're doing a specific Pokemon Direct, which is gonna be like, okay, these are your legendary exclusives for the 2 games. So, I'm just waiting for that at this point.
Okay, so that's your
Yeah.
most anticipated game.
That went on for a little longer than I thought it would.
That's okay.
I love Pokemon.
Matt, do you want me to go next, or do you want to go next?
You can go next.
Borderlands 3.
Not surprised.
Great, my turn.
Sure, go for it, Matt.
what are you excited about it for? Just kind of everything, or
I've been waiting for
Mechs?
I've been waiting for this game
since Borderlands pre-sequel?
since Borderlands
2?
2 more so than pre-sequel. So that's like 7 years now. And I love the look of the new characters. I love the manufacturers. They're all getting more unique
Weapons.
things to add to them.
Weapon gimmicks.
Weapon gimmicks. Yeah, they're more their gimmicks are becoming more than just what they were.
More than just like, oh, this does a little bit more damage. This explodes. This you can throw when you it explodes like a grenade when you reload.
Yeah, they're
The
doing
one
a little
I
bit
saw
more-
was it shoots guns that follow your enemies around. That's one that I read.
they're-
It was like, what? The gun shoots guns that then follow your enemies around and shoot them.
I haven't read that one, but
That would sound like something I would use.
Or
that
something
sounds
like
like
that. I may
something-
not have read that or remembered it correctly. But
Cross compatibility for that.
Sure.
Cross-platform. Because they've been talking about that, right?
Yeah, they want that.
Which means I won't have
and
to
I'm
buy
pretty
it on
sure
Steam.
that happens.
Yeah, well, it's not coming out till Steam till like next year.
6
Well,
months
I'm going to
after.
buy it on the Xbox first, and then
Same.
when I can buy it on Steam, I'll buy it for cheap on Steam. Because I want to finish my collection. I have all the Borderlands games on Steam, so I want to finish my collection. So I can look at them and be proud that I bought all the games that have
See, the
Borderlands
thing is,
in it.
when do we? Because we're playing through Borderlands right now. And,
Borderlands
like,
1.
Yeah. So when do you think we'll finish the 3 that are out?
See,
Not before then.
See,
That's what I'm thinking. Is that I won't need to buy it until
Yeah.
it comes out on Steam.
Yeah,
So I probably won't buy it on Xbox.
I think we could even skip pre-sequel and still take all.
I mean, I
all
want to
this
play
time.
through pre-sequel, but if you don't want to play through it, I can
Oh,
play
well,
through it with
I'm
Nick or
just
something.
saying we have a lot of content when it comes to that playthrough.
Yeah.
I say
Because
even
we do
even
have
if
all
we
the DLC.
even if we skip pre-sequel, we could totally still have lots of play. But if we want to get through
Yeah, that's
pre-sequel,
true. We still have 2 whole games and what is it, 4 DLC for each? Of like
more
story
2
DLC.
and pre-sequel had a lot.
I don't have all the DLC for 2, so I'll have to buy that.
But I realize like not all the DLC is like playable DLC.
Yeah.
A lot of it was like heads and stuff like that. But I'm talking about the playable DLC. Was there
There's
only
a
like
lot.
4?
There's a lot.
I
more.
think for
2?
I think-
it's
I
like
think-
6.
I think there were 2 they had. I'll have to look it up.
I know for
Quick question.
first one that was
Yeah.
4.
Who do you think you'll play as in Borderlands 3?
That is like always been the toughest question. When 2 came out, or at least was like started to show off the playable characters, I switched like every week, and I feel like that's happening to me. I'm like,
Who are you kind of set on right now?
Flack the Beastmaster looks really awesome because you have
See,
the
thing is,
choice
I don't
of
remember all their names. I
have
know who
the-
Flack is, but
you have the choice of 3 different sort of beasts you can use.
Oh yeah.
So that's gonna be really interesting.
what are all the names of the people?
I don't know.
Do we know?
I like the melee girl. The melee one. The girl's like the 6-inch
Mara, I
arms.
think that one's Mara. I'm still
Wasn't
rough
there
on the-
Mose and Amara?
Mose is the soldier / mech, bear mech one.
Bear Mech.
There's a bear.
There's
Well,
Mose.
the
There's
mech
Flack.
is called the bear mech.
There's what, Amara?
Yeah, or Amara. That's the
And
that's
then
the
there was-
melee one.
Wasn't there like the guy that had the thing on his
Robot.
arm?
The assassin stealth character.
Yeah.
Yeah,
shoots
I don't
the
remember his
drone
name. So you were thinking Amara.
So you're thinking of the melee.
Yeah.
I think that's her name. See, I was kind of in a toss-up between Mose and Amara. But if us 3 are playing it together, he's playing Amara probably, then I'd play Mose.
Well, we'll see, because like again, it doesn't come out until September 13th. So,
and I won't
there's
get it
so
until
much
6 months later.
see, I'm gonna get on Xbox, and like if it's gonna be cross compatible
I mean,
with
if we're all
PC,
getting on an Xbox, we can just play it on Xbox.
That's true too.
But we probably won't be done the other ones by then.
Yeah.
Even if we don't play pre-sequel.
But
yeah.
Amara the Siren.
Oh, yeah. Wait. So pre-sequel is the only one that doesn't have a siren then?
Yeah. Flack the Beastmaster, Mose the Gunner, and Zane the Operative.
Zane.
There we go.
I don't know. I'm either gonna play as Amara or Zane. I don't know, because they both look really cool.
I'm between Amara and Mose.
Well, if you want to play Amara, you can play Amara.
I will at some point, whether it's with you guys or by myself, because that's just what I
Yeah.
do.
No, I'm just excited for the cross compatibility on that, because if you can play Xbox and people like on Steam and Xbox like cross compatible, then I won't get it on Steam. I'll just be like, okay, I'll play with you guys, but I'm playing on Xbox. The only reason I got it on Steam was because they were cheap. What, 50?
So there's like story based DLC packs, and then there was 4 of for 2. Going back to the how many DLCs there were. So there's 4 big story packs. There's also Headhunter packs, which were much smaller and more themed to different events, but they had like weapons and a boss.
So I was thinking of the 4 big story ones.
And so okay,
Yeah.
But the Headhunter ones always have like quests in them? Is that?
there's usually a boss,
Like a single
and,
quest or something like that?
and then
Okay.
lots of loot afterwards.
Okay.
So is the main,
I didn't realize that. I thought the Headhunter was just like, here's a head.
So yeah. So there's those packs. Then there was the 2 classes that you can get as
So
well.
Mecharomancer and Berserker.
And then there was the
Right.
customization
For 2.
packs.
And then for 3, for pre-sequel, it was
So there
the
so
clone and then Hammerlock's sister.
I just want to play as Claptrap.
There's also the Ultimate Vault Hunter packs as well. There's 2 of those that added 11 levels to the maximum each. So the maximum level was 72. But that takes a long time to get there. Yeah. If we don't.
I mean, we played through Borderlands 2 together, right? We were level 36 at the end.
Yeah.
Wow.
So halfway to level 72.
Well, no, the first one didn't go all the way to 72. The first one.
No, but we played through Borderlands 2 together.
Oh, yeah.
We never beat Borderlands 1.
I thought you said Borderlands 1.
I never beat Borderlands 1.
Anyways.
So.
But yeah, so that amount of DLC is a bit more than the first one. And then the pre-sequel had, I think,
the first one didn't have, like, interchangeable heads or anything.
No, it just had the 4 DLCs for the
Now it does.
Now it does. With the Enhanced Edition.
Enhanced Game of the Year.
Did you download the Enhanced Edition?
Yes, I already downloaded the Enhanced Edition.
Because then we can play that.
I did, but also at the same time, my computer seems to be really slow with it.
Really? Might have to adjust settings. Unless you've already done that.
I've tried that. It seems to be really slow no matter what, so I might just... I'll see what I can do with it at some point.
Enough about me and what I'm most anticipated about. What about you,
I don't know
man?
if it's technically been announced.
What?
It's just part of an ongoing series. WWE 2K20! Usually comes out every October or November.
Okay. So you still...
I'm pretty excited for that. I have all of them pretty much from...
2005.
12. I started playing them in 2007. I didn't get them, though. My friend had them.
Right.
They're awesome. I'm just excited to see, like... It's kind of like, oh, what's going to happen in WWE this year? And then, like, who's going to be in 2K20? I really hope they bring Nikki Cross back into it, because she was in 2K17, I believe, but she's not in 2K18 or 19. Either that or she was in... I haven't... Not at all, I don't think.
Oh, wow.
Lacey Evans is in there now, which is pretty cool.
Don't know who that is.
I'm going to surprise you and say she's a wrestler.
Wow! Really?
But yeah, I'm a big fan of WWE personally, so...
Yep.
I'm excited for the next one because I just want to see what they add. Honestly, I really hope they add more generic entrances and themes because I make custom I have 25 custom wrestlers in
19
in 2K19 right now. I recently made my brother in it, and now me and him are tagging.
Nice.
You two guys are tagging in it.
Yeah.
And then everyone else is not a real person.
That makes us as
the first three.
The first 3 or no, first like 4.
There's 4 people that I always make in the 2K19.
Himself,
that's us 3, and then my a character that I came up with a long time ago, Anna Marie.
Who you make in any
and I
game
make in every single game I play. She's one of my playthroughs in Dragon Age Inquisition. She's a playthrough in the Mass Effect series. She's a playthrough in like every game that you can make a custom character in.
Yeah.
She's a playthrough in Fallout. She's a playthrough in Skyrim.
Yeah. Any game you can create a character, you will create that character as well as yourself and but in the WWE franchise, the
first 4 characters I create are me, her, Nick and Trenton, maybe Trenton and Nick, depending on
depends
what I feel like making it first.
Yeah.
Cruiserweight, light heavyweight, heavyweight.
Oh yeah,
that's how it works out. Nick's a cruiserweight, Trenton's a heavyweight.
There we go.
Light heavyweight. I'm a heavyweight.
Okay. So yeah, those are our anticipated games for this year. I think that wraps up our episode.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say it's gonna change in 3 months. Watch.
You're gonna
probably not.
Probably
depending on what gets announced, it'll probably change for me.
Yeah.
We still have.
I just wanted to say something different than you two guys, and I don't know what other games have been announced. So that's why I
Star Wars Fallen Jedi.
Is that this year?
They're saying.
See, they're unsure about that one. Whereas I know if 2K20 happens, which I'm pretty sure it will, because it's been happening since 2012, and before that it was not 2K.
Super Mario Maker 2.
Then it's gonna come out in like November when all the 2K games come out.
Matt, Super Mario Maker 2.
Didn't enjoy 1.
I know.
So why would I be excited?
I'm going to force you to play the second one.
I'm going to not.
You will.
How are you going to force me to do that?
I'll bring my Switch over and you can play it.
That's not forcing me. That's letting me play it.
Okay.
Yeah. See you next time.